Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's the 11th of July, 2022. Welcome. If this is your first time, my name's Sabina. As you come in, say hi, let me know how you're doing. This is basically for a check-in, see how folks are, see what's happening in people's lives, how people are feeling about things. Do a little teaching. I'm going to do a couple of readings, which I have been doing more of in these lives. And we're going to talk about discernment because, so this is like the third conversation on discernment. The first one didn't make it on here because I wasn't able to go live. So the first one is on Instagram. The second one was last week on here. And then I want to talk about it again today because it's such a massive topic. Like, what else is there? So if you're at all focused on growth, evolution, learning, lessons, spiritual development, all the way right up into ascension, right? If that's your bag at the moment, if that's what you're focused on, and you're not focusing on discernment as well, and you're not looking into what does this discernment mean and where am I not being discerning in my life and where am I actively blocking it, if you're not looking at those things, like then you're not going to feel the way you want to feel at this time, and you're not going to really be on the path that you'd like to be at this time. Can you be eternally lost? I do not believe that you can. Can you fuck it up? No, I do not believe that you can. But what I do believe that you can do is run in circles, right? You can run in circles, or you can be on a path. I often used to use this analogy with people, and I haven't used it for a while. You're always on path. So think of it this way: I'm always on path, but I can be standing looking out this way where it's dark and there's a whole heap of I can't make out exactly where I am, and it feels heavy and it feels like a drudgery, and it feels like it just feels crap, and I feel like I haven't got a clue where I am. Or I could literally turn this way and there's light and there's guidance so you're always on path, but you can be facing in a way that you feel like you're off path, or you feel like you're lost, or you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like you haven't got a clue. And the key there is discernment, which is why I'm talking about it for the third time. Last week, I asked you all to have a look at throughout the week, what is it that you do that numbs and dumbs you? Okay, because when we are discerning, when we fine tune and really hone our internal navigational system and our internal flight path, right? Last week I talked about the airport analogy, and I said that we each have a different itinerary. We cannot look to each other for every single thing. We can look to each other. We can always look to each other for the how. Like, how is that person navigating this with such confidence? How do they navigate their life and always seem to kind of feel, you can look at it from that way. Hi, Marianne. But you can't look at someone else's path and literally hold on to their coattails and just follow it. And you can't go to someone else and say, right, give me my itinerary because I don't know it. Well, you can do all those things, but it's going to feel off. And as we get into more of the actual, I suppose, aspect of, I'm going to use the airport analogy again, right? I hope you're not sick of it. I know you use it a lot, but I think the thing is we can all relate to it, right? Once you get to the airport, we're all on different flights. Some of us together, for sure. You're going to have your people that are on the same flight, for sure. But some of the people you're looking at to guide you are on different flights. Some are not going to get on a flight at this time at all, right? Some are here for completely different purposes. Some are here for completely different lessons. And if you're looking to them all the time, what am I meant to do? Guide me. And this is not just about this time. This is literally how to get through your life. This is not just about 2022. This is not just about if you're focusing on ascension. This is not just about moving from 3D to 5D in all the ways we describe evolution, right? It's semantics. They're semantics. Whatever resonates with you, go with that. They're all describing evolution. And so it's not just about this time. It's about any time that you arrive on the planet. You are here with a purpose. You are here with a path. You are here with an inbuilt navigational system that will take you to the lessons that you need, the stuff that you need to transform. It will bring the right material to you, that it is all uniquely designed and tailored for you. And only you can be the right guide, the true guide through your life. Only you can be the channel between you and that guidance of your higher self, God, source, spirit, again, semantics, whatever resonates with you. Only you can be that true channel for yourself. Only you can be the true inner guidance for yourself. Only you can truly discern what is right for you. Yes, you can do it with a whole heap of support. You can do it with assistance. You can do it with people can guide you, but you have to still be able to discern at the end of the day what of that is right for you and what is not right for you. And that's why I'm talking so much about discernment, because it's literally everything. It's going to determine what timelines you end up on. It's going to determine how empowered you feel throughout this time and continuing forward. It's going to determine whether you are in the right room at the right time, whether you're getting the opportunities that are available for you at the right time, whether you're hanging out with the right people at the right time. All of that is going to be dependent on your discernment. And so I asked you, where are you actively blocking your own discernment? Where are you numbing and dumbing yourself down? So if you're here live today, or if you're watching the replay, put it in the chat. I would love to know, what did you discover about yourself? Or what did you already know and kind of it was affirmed for you? Where are you numbing yourself? And the reason why I'm saying numbing and dumbing is because the things that we choose to numb us, they actually put even more of a cage and walls around our own internal compass. They make it harder for us to access it. In the uncomfortable times, in the times when emotions come up that we maybe don't want to sit in, or that definitely ego doesn't want to sit in, what happens is that hi Haruka, how are you? What happens at that time is that we don't want to sit in those emotions. We don't want to face it. We don't want to go there right now. And so we choose numbing. But if we didn't, and we allowed ourselves to go there right now and to choose those things, that is how we actually start to access the internal things that will help us in our discernment. Those things that you're choosing, and many of you, I asked the question yesterday. I asked some questions yesterday again in my Insta stories, and watch Netflix, stand, etc. Isolating at home, eating was a big one. Alcohol, TV, wine, technology, scrolling was a big one. Shopping, yep, for sure. A lot of people with social media came up again and again and again. Mindless scrolling on my phone. Adventures to distract myself from the chaos instead of being in it and feeling uncomfortable. Like, look at the discernment there. I love that insight because it is in itself an example of discernment. Hello, Aurora. I'm glad you're able to make it. It is in itself an example of discernment, because there's shopping and then there's shopping. There's being on social media and then there's scrolling mindlessly through social media. There's sitting down and going, I want to watch a movie, and then there's 8 hours of binging Netflix. You know the difference. You know the difference. There's eating to nourish yourself, or there's sharing a meal with friends in like enjoy, right? Nourishing your body, and there's eating to numb yourself. You know the difference. Now, what I love about this one is it's next level discernment, there's adventuring, there's I'm going out on an adventure, I'm going to spend a day out, I'm going to get out of the house, and then there's doing it in avoidance. And that is, the difference. This is what this shows. The difference. That is discernment. And that is where you get an opportunity to discern what the right thing is for you to do at that time. Going into autopilot, finding comfort in information. Love that one, because that is ego to a T. So ego, when it feels uncomfortable, when it feels frightened, when it wants to escape, will often actually escape. Now, you might not know this, but it will often escape into information. When ego is freaked out, hi Fiona, lovely to see you. All of the above, yes, and really the majority of us would fit into all of the above. But keep connecting to the earth to balance. Beautiful. So what's happening there is your ego's going, can we just eat? Please, let's eat. Can we just watch 8 hours of Bridgerton? Can we just get out of the house? Let's get out of the house. Let's catch up. Let's talk on the phone for hours and hours. And then let's watch this documentary on this, and then this YouTube thing on this, and then let's watch this on this. And then you're 15 hours into CERN and what's currently happening with CERN, and where are you? What was the point of that? And so that over information is still ego going, I want to know more. I need to know more, because there's safety in knowing more. And there isn't. There isn't safety in knowing more. People might be surprised how little I know about the things I know stuff about when it comes to, not when it comes to spiritual stuff, because I love that, but when it comes to the detail of things like, some of the ways in which the body works, or some of the ways in which certain things work, or some of the evidence that we have, or some of the things, I'm trying not to say words that I think might trigger, right? Some of the things about what's been happening, right? Now they'll go, oh, but you know all about those, don't you? You know how bad they are for you, don't you? And I'm like, no, I know this much. And then from there, I can make a good decision for me. And more than that, I don't need to know. Because I've never wanted to convince you of anything, because you know what? If what I talk about resonates with you, great, you're in the right spot. If it sometimes triggers you, beautiful, you are definitely in the right spot. And if it doesn't resonate with you at all, you're in the wrong spot. Leave, go somewhere else, go where your heart goes. This is my space. Go where you feel good to be, right? So then this is not the space for you. I'm not here to convince you of anything, right? I'm here to share what I know, what comes to me, what gets channeled through me, what I'm inspired to share, what I have lived, what a lived experience that I have, and beyond that. And I'm here to interact with you and to know about what you know and your lived experience and what you want to share with us. And through that, we create a community. And beyond that, I'm not bothered to change your mind. It's not why I'm here. So people are often surprised at how little I know about the detail of stuff, because I don't need to know it. Once I head into something and I'm like, yeah, this feels right, and then I have enough of it so that I feel comfortable, that I know enough that I can make an informed decision, an informed choice, and I have enough so that my body goes, yep, that feels right, and my knowing gets activated, and I'm like, yep, that's the truth for me. I need look no further. I don't need another 15 hours of evidence. If that's you, and if you find yourself doing that, that is your ego going, I don't know enough, but I don't know enough. And it will either be doing it because it's actually getting off on freaking you out. It's actually getting off on the fear that you feel watching it, or the drama with which so many of these shows are presented with, like the voiceover and the thing and the music, and it's very dramatic, and it's like, oh my God. It's your ego's getting off on that. And the other reason why it might be doing it is because you're frightened that if somebody asks you about your choices, you feel, I need to be able to tell them exactly why I've made this choice, and therefore I need all the evidence. I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I want to make sure they don't think I'm dumb. I want to make sure they don't think I'm just flippantly making this decision. So they're the things to check into if you are one of those people that gets comfort in finding information. It's actually your ego. Yeah. So food, adventure, new things, right? All now, food, adventures, and new things, tick, 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 beautiful, love them. And if you're putting them down here as what are you doing to numbing, then you know that you're doing them with a purpose of actually not sitting in and facing what is currently in your present, in your presence. And that is already discernment. And that is already discernment. And that's why I love that. So, what did you find out about you? Yes, love that question, Haruka. Okay, what was the question? Do you think constantly helping others is a form of escaping and avoiding? Yes, for sure. It is a form of making them more important than what you are. And it is also, if we have a tendency to constantly help others, and everybody that does that is doing it as a way of avoiding, I can assure you of that. If we find ourselves doing that, it will mean somewhere in our childhood we did that and it was heavily rewarded, right? So either it's the role you played in your family home, your family, you were the helper, you were the good girl, you were the smart one, you were the wise one, you were the mature one, you were the quiet one, you didn't rock the boat, you were helpful. You started to get your sense, anybody that does this started to get their sense of self from being helpful. How can I help you? Maybe it's homes where there was very stressed parents. Maybe it's homes where there was very chaotic parents. Maybe it's homes where the parents weren't parenting. And so you stepped up into that parenting role. You might have started parenting siblings. You were rewarded for being very mature. And so you got good at being the one in the room that came through with the solutions. Maybe you weren't heard and you know how shit that feels. And so now you're very good at hearing people. It will be a combination of your skills and things that you're very good at naturally. So don't dismiss them because this totally could be your calling. It could be where your passion lies, that you have a passion and a desire to help people and to do, you know, exactly what you're already doing. Again, where discernment comes in is you will know, am I doing it ahead of myself? If I'm doing it in spite of how I feel, if I'm doing it, if I'm placing their needs ahead of my own, then yes, discernment says to me, there's something going on here. This has become like an actual toxic pattern. It's toxic to me. And that is where discernment is so beautiful at showing you what is actually numbing you. And the reason why I say numbing and dumbing is it dumbs us down. Now, have a look at how we've been encouraged to numb ourselves through, like, you know, matrix, whatever you want to call it, right? They, governments, whatever, the lower energies, whatever you want to call them, at this time have encouraged us to be inactive, stay in our homes, do not get outside, stay away from each other, be isolated. Every bottle shop has stayed open. So we've been encouraged, keep drinking. Coffee, 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 coffee. Have you noticed coffee placement? And I don't mean a cup like you used to see it in movies and shows. I mean a takeaway coffee. Takeaway coffee is placed in so many scenes in movies where you think, why would they have takeaway cups in that office? Why would they all have takeaway cups? Like, it's to kind of program you, go buy a coffee, go buy a coffee. Now, none of those coffee places were shut down during anything, right? You couldn't get the most basic essential things. You couldn't get healthcare, but you could go to the bottle shop and you could get a coffee. This is a clue. This is always a clue that these things are keeping you dumb. Why do they want us dumb? Because the less good we are at discernment, the more easily we can be manipulated. the more easily we can be swayed and led with the group and fed narratives and things where our discernment would go, well, this feels off, right? So the numbing, the things you're choosing to numb, stop you. And I was thinking about it this morning. It's like let's say you're waiting on post. You're waiting on a really important letter with really important information in it, right? But you have like your letterbox completely sealed up. That is what you're doing to yourself when you numb, and you are dumbing yourself down, because that discernment, that information you're waiting on, that feeling that you want to kick in so that you know what's right for you, you're actually blocking off with the coffee, the alcohol, the shopping, the scrolling, the being out and about all the time on the phone, all the things that the helping others constantly. You are literally like getting gaffer tape and sealing that whole entire letterbox up, and then sitting there and going, I just can't seem to get my own messages. This is why I have to go to other people. This is why you cannot get your own messages. It's the shit you eat. It's the stuff you do that literally stops you from being able to get that letter, that mail, that stuff in the post that is so that is the guidance that you're looking for. Okay, where are we? I wish cleaning was my form of numbing. You don't really. That was mine. That was mine for a very long time. I used to clean my whole entire house from top to bottom twice a week. And then about at least twice a year, I did a massive spring clean, like inside like take everything out of every cupboard, clean it. It was not happy camping. So although it looked good maybe from the outside, it still felt just as shit on the inside as any of the other things we do to escape and numb. And doing it from an empty cup. Yes, exactly. Yes, I feel it's my calling. It will be Haruka for sure. You're on track. You're on path. You're on track. It will be what lights you up. It will be your passion. It will be your gift. It will be where your journey lies for sure. And the discernment part will be, why am I doing this right now? So the discernment part for you will come in for like, is this feeling good for me, or am I doing this because it's feeling good for them, but it's feeling good for my ego, because then my ego goes, yeah, this is me having purpose, right? Your purpose is always your own evolution. Your purpose is always your own growth, your own expansion, your own lessons. That is your purpose. And then from that place, you can share. Your purpose is not to give other people what you yourself do not have. But I often find myself quite depleted when I do it. Yeah, and that's your clue. I guess I need to feel into it to decide if it's meant to be or not. It will. I would imagine that it is what it will be, the thing that's meant to be. It will just depend on what you're going to do first. It's like saying, okay, let's say I want to run a marathon, and I haven't run my whole entire life, and so I run today from my house to the end of the street, and I'm completely buggered, knackered, out of breath, exhausted. I'm not going to then come into my house and say it must not be, I must not be intended to run a marathon. No, I have to look at where have I prepared myself? What have I done to build myself up, to get myself ready, to train, to be in tune? If the desire's there, there's something there. But then you need to look at, what am I doing to get myself ready for that? What am I doing so that it's in my joy and at the right time and when I want it to be? And how have I trained? And that's a big one with anything that we do. So discernment is not just about this time. Discernment is about everything. It always was about discernment. It always was about discernment. This is the thing I want you to know. This is not suddenly some new age 2022 thing started in 2020. Oh, now I need to add discernment on my list, right? So now on my to-do list, I have to write down discernment. No, discernment should always have been at the top of your list. Discernment, lack of, is what got us here. Discernment is what is going to get us out of here. What do I mean by here? Whatever that means for you, however you're living in a way that you don't want to be living, however the world looks that you don't want it to look, that's here, right? So I had a really good question that I'm going to go to now because it kind of fits in with what I'm saying. Do we even need to follow what's going on and go down all the rabbit holes? Okay. And the other one, which is it helpful to literally walk away from it all and just live, or is that ignorance? Beautiful. I want you to know that it all is always just only what applies to you. I've given this example before and I'm going to repeat it because it was life-changing for me. I heard Matt Kahn talk about it one time, and he said, how you know what your thing is to fix, because I was a long-time superhero. I wouldn't say, I would almost recovered superhero, fixer of the world person. And so I would make myself watch things that were really hard to watch. When I used to watch the news, I'd be like, well, I have to know what's going on and I have to be aware. And if people are going through these things, surely it's up to me. If I'm not living that hardship, then at least the least I can do is be aware of the hardship people are living, of what people are going through. And so in that sense, I was always aware of the starving children and the abused children and the abused animals, and the poverty and the crime and the racism and the sexism, and all of it was constantly swirling in my head. Because if it wasn't happening to me, then obviously my role as a human being on this planet who's compassionate and who's aware is to at least keep it in my orbit. And what I learned, and this is what Matt Kahn said in one of his teachings that was life-changing for me, was the only thing that you need to do something about is what is directly in front of you. If it's not directly in front of you, it's not your job to do something about it. And that was life-changing for me because it made me realize that I can either lie in my bed at 2 a.m. and worry about every homeless person that is currently not lying in a bed, and worry about kids that are going to school in the morning without food, and worry about the woman across the road who I saw yesterday yelling at her kid that broke my heart, and worry about the dog that's been barking down the road, and is he okay, and is he chained up, and is somebody abusing him. And I can worry about all of that, or I can sleep well throughout the night and I can go through my day being aware of what I encounter, and then I can actually transform myself based on what I'm encountering. And so where I added that on what I do, my own practice that I got from A Course in Miracles, and what I do with clients, which is the most life-changing thing I see them go through, is I have evolved myself in that regard. So when I see something, of course I act. I'm not saying don't act if something is in front of you. But if I see something and it's not in front of me to do something about, or nobody's asking me to do anything about it, then what I ask myself is, where am I like this? What I've basically done is I've changed it from I need to solve all the physical problems, like I need to, how can we feed every starving kid? I've changed all of that we really none of us can do anything about because it is too corrupt. Is I ask myself, where am I like this? And I've started to make the energetic and the vibrational shifts that is teaching me. I take it as a lesson rather than a problem I need to solve. Where am I starving myself? Where am I disregarding myself? Where am I keeping myself from abundance? Where am I where am I being sexist, racist, prejudiced in my thoughts, in my views, in my beliefs, in my interactions with people? How do I speak about people? How, where are my prejudices? Like, and in that way, you evolve yourself, and you can literally start to walk away from the stuff you see that they don't want you to walk away from, right? It's meant to be a trigger. It's meant to be a trigger. Watch the news. It's meant to be a trigger. Watch the ads on SBS. Every single ad is starving child, abused animals, climate change this, environmental that, fires, floods, this, that, every single ad. Why? Because they know the kind of people that watch SBS probably have a bit of extra cash, probably are they're easily manipulated into their compassion, and they will send money. Where once upon a time, when my auntie used to say, when you send that money away, it never goes in the right hands, I was horrified. I was like, oh my God, imagine not sending it just in case not all of it gets into the right hands. Well, now I never send money anywhere. Unless I see you, unless you're in front of me, unless I know you and you're collecting money for someone else, I do not give money to any organization, because I do now know how corrupt they are. And so you need to look into things enough to free yourself. So if you're not watching the news, you don't have to go down any rabbit holes of floods or anything like that. What you do need to do is you need to look at things that come into your awareness so you can free yourself of them. You want to look at things that you encounter. You want to look at things that concern you, frighten you, scare you. You want to look at things that are in your life. You want to look at Disney enough so that your children never watch it. You want to look at the LGBTQ narrative enough so that you have respect and regard for the genuine LGBTQ community, but you're aware of the manipulated narrative and agenda, so that you don't end up so woke you're up your own ass like I was for most of my life, and so that you're not walking around constantly offended and horrified and exposing your children to things that you didn't know you were exposing them to. You want to be awake and aware enough and look into things just enough so that you become unbound from them, so that you are free from them, so that you cannot be manipulated by them. So if you are living on a property that you love, you've got kids, you're looking after your kids, immerse yourself in them. No, you don't need to know about how cloud seeding works and exactly what they're doing, but be aware they're changing the climate. Be aware that that is something that is being manipulated. Full stop. That's all you need to know. You don't need to watch a 4-hour doco on how we're all going to hell. You don't need to watch a 15-hour doco on which celebrities have done photos with their eye covered. You do not need to do it. You need an awareness. Hollywood is not a great place. There's a lot of predictive programming. There's a lot of manipulation. I want to be aware enough so that if I'm watching a movie, I go, I know what you're doing. It's not going to work. I want to be aware enough that I would never watch the news again, because I know that the mainstream media is completely manipulated and it's completely false narratives and it's completely alarmist and it's all intentional. And so I turn it off. And I know I will not get my news from there. They're not actually giving me news. They're just giving me what they want me to see. You do not need to go beyond that. So there's no rabbit holes you have to go down unless it inspires you, unless you feel like, I want to know more about this. Great, do it. But I hope that's the answer to that. And I hope that it's not about living in ignorance. The living in ignorance would be somebody says to you, they're cloud seeding, and you know that there's a man-made aspect to climate change, and you go, no, there's not. And you walk away and you do not even if they say to you, you know what, have a look at HARP, and you're like, I'm not interested at all. That is probably not great living in 2022 when you are already, and it's going to ramp up like crazy, be fed every single manipulative narrative on climate change, and you don't know enough to be able to be in your power within it, right? So unless you live fully off grid, or unless you live on an island and you're not exposed to any of it, at least what you're exposed to, know enough so that you can't be manipulated by it, so that you're not swirling in fear about it, but you don't need to know more than, and it is horrifying sometimes. You look into the LGBTQ manipulated narrative, you look into the stuff where you've got drag queens around children, you look into that, you hear about it, and you go, what a load of shit. That is someone that's anti-trans. That's your first thought. And then you think that's just like some sicko that sees the P word no matter where they look. And then you look into it just enough yourself, and you don't usually need more than 3 or 4 slides in somebody's saved stories on the right accounts, and you go, oh my God, it is real, and I don't need to know more beyond that, because unless it's in front of me, unless I currently have a child that is exposed to that, unless I'm currently in an industry that is feeding that, I don't need to know more than that. I don't need to know more than that. So I hope that answers that question. Exercise, for sure. Exercise, so many people are addicted to exercise in the gym. Can be a huge numbing, but yeah, also good. Exactly. Most things are. Most things can be both. It's like teaching your child a lesson that you haven't mastered yourself. Yes, that's exactly right. And what happens when we teach our children things? Oh, hey, Verena. What happens when we teach our children things we ourselves haven't learnt? They do not listen. Children listen to what you do and not to what you say. That is the biggest lesson that I learned that made me really set the tone, because that's where I realized setting the tone is the most powerful thing I can do for the rest of the world. It is actually, I don't need to be some superhero flying around saving people, but the more I set the tone, the more I model me being in my power, the more I just share with you what I know. Let me just share with you what I know if you want to hear it. Like, you'll learn to stop sharing it with people that don't want to hear it. That's a disregard of myself. That's a disregard of you. But the more you simply just model it, and that's exactly how children learn. Children learn through what you model. If you're a woman who hates her body, is down on it all the time, speaks terribly about yourself, but says to your young daughter, you're so beautiful, you're perfect, she knows that you're full of shit. She knows that's not true. Now, do you mean that about her? Yes, of course you do. But you cannot teach her the lesson of body confidence when you do not have it. You can't do it. I love how much you have been through. It's like you have gone through many lifetimes in one life. Yes. And you know what? I feel like so many of us that are the way showers have. And I realize now that probably, I think, okay, so here's what I believe about me. I believe that if I have ever been human before, I haven't been it for a very long time. And so I needed to do like a crash course in human. I needed to do because I do like doing this for a living, and in the bigger picture, because I know I am a way shower, and there are many of us, like it was so clear. Many of you here are way showers. There are way showers everywhere. How do you know us? We're stepping up, and we're talking about things where people go, oh yeah, that's really helpful. Oh yeah, it's like you really know what I'm going through. We're way showers in the sense that we would have always been the odd man out in the family, odd man out at school, odd man out in different groups, by either what we knew, how we processed information, how we could see things, right? So that is going to lend us to being that superhero in the room. That is going to lend us to going, hey, I know about this. Let me help you. Hey, I can see that your whole life is a car crash. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you what you can do about it. But again, we can't go against ourselves to do that. It's about, yep, experience it, go through the pain, learn how to transform it, and then model to others how to do that. And in that way, you become the way shower. You just show people the way, right? A way shower is simply someone that shows people the way, either the way out of individual conflict, turmoil. With me, it's a big part is showing you how to move beyond, beyond your ego, in the sense that you can now look at it and you can use it as part of your guidance system. You know how to move beyond. People are showing you that all the time. So I feel like we had to go through many lifetimes in one to kind of do a crash course in human, because you need to know how someone feels. This is the other thing, Haruka. You need to know how someone feels before you can. Yes, you can't teach something you yourself haven't learned, but also you can't. Another way to look at that is you can't teach somebody something if you haven't been where they are. I always say, I am the best person to teach you how to be in your power, because I did, I was so good at not being in it. I was so good at feeling powerless. I was so good at victim mentality. But then once I was able to move myself beyond it, I can't get you out of your victim mentality while I'm still in mine. And there are so many people in that industry doing that. There are so many people in the whole narcissist industry, the whole empath industry, that are still fully in their own victim mentality. But you have to have been in it in order to know what somebody feels like, because you can't model, you can't teach, you can't guide somebody to move from their victim into their power if you don't know what it feels like to be in their victim. If you've been in your power all along, how do you even know what language to speak to them? How do you know how to reach them? How do you know the tools to activate when that victim part starts screaming and takes over again? You can't. So, Haruka, you will be the perfect person to teach people what you have gone through, what you do know. We all are. I mean, I'm just saying Haruka because I feel like your calling is there for sure. Please put any questions that you have in there, and I'm just going to have a quick look through and see if I've covered what people had wanted to know. Where do you most look to others for answers and guidance? Okay. Can you look to them at all? Yes, of course. Look to people. That's how you actually start to fine tune your whole discernment. Discernment does not come from living in a cave on a mountain. Discernment comes where you meet life. You have to meet life. Where you hear things people are saying, where you listen to the teachings of others, where you put yourself in a group and you spend time in it, and then you discern, is this for me? So you have to encounter the stuff. You have to encounter the material. I'm not saying that discernment means don't ever ask anybody for anything. Don't, you should know it all. That's ego. That's ego going, oh, I'll just have to do it on my own. No, you listen to things and then you go, and then so start to think of discernment being the same as eating food. You take the food in, and then the body does what it does. All the different organs do a different aspect of digestion. Different parts of your body play their part in digestion, and then you poo out what you don't need. And I want you to start doing that process to everything you take in. You take it in, you sit with it, you go, what of this feels good? What of this resonates? What of this can I do something with? What of this is activating me? What of this is triggering me? There'll be something there for me to look at. What of this is expanding me, growing me, nourishing me, feeding me? And what am I going to let go? Because I don't need it, right? It's a great way to keep me aligned as oh. Hi, Sue. I have a couple of 40-year-old women asking me to guide them into healing and navigate soul-based life. Beautiful. Yes. Sue, yes. Definitely that is a beautiful opportunity, a beautiful request, a beautiful opportunity for expansion. And at the same time, it is going to be a an exercise in boundaries like never before, an exercise in recognizing your value and worth like never before, and an exercise in restraint and your own discernment, and in allowing them, in kind of not having them come to you and go, right, so if you could just pop my answers, because that is what happens with me in sessions. Not so much anymore. I don't really attract people like that, but for sure, people come to me and they're like, okay, people don't come to me to be fixed anymore, but they used to, for sure. Right, what question do we have here? So yes, you do want to look to the outside world for your meanings, for guidance, for things, but then the discernment part comes in of like, what is right for me? Okay, what was the other? When you always look to someone else or others for guidance, how does this feel afterwards? And most of you said often not quite right. Now, that will only be the weight that you put on their opinion and on their guidance. So I look at other people's stuff. Well, probably not. I mean, probably not as much as most people. Here is a beautiful example of discernment. Everything you DM me, I do not look at it. Do not DM me anything. Do not DM me. Do not send links. Do not send pictures. Do not send memes. I do not look at them. Unless you are a family member who knows me very well, or unless you are a very, very close friend who is personally sending me something and saying, hey, I just watched this, I loved it, I think it will resonate, or I think you'll get a lot from it, or whatever, I don't look at it. Can you imagine, right? So here's the thing. You're sitting at home, you turn the TV on, you've got the remote in your hand and you're scrolling through it. That's how you discern. That's you discerning what you want to watch, what you expose yourself to. An ad comes on, you go, I don't like that, you change the channel, or you leave the room or whatever, right? If I went into my DMs and there's videos and there's links and there's memes and there's pictures and there's words that I have not invited into that space, and I start going through them, that is a complete and utter lack of discernment. I have no control there what I'm exposing myself to. And I am so good at what I will and will not expose myself to. That is exactly how I navigate my frequency. So I understand people send them because they go, oh yeah, this will be a good thing, or yeah, you know, this is, but I know what I know. I don't need like somebody like kind of saying it back. And B, you are not in a place in my life where I no longer need discernment with what you're inspired by, or what you like to watch, or what rabbit holes you're down. So that the reason why it often doesn't feel quite good afterwards, if you have gone to somebody and watched them, it's only because you're giving them too much value in their opinion, and you're not being discerning enough when to turn it off, or when to go, no, I don't feel like it today, or when to just take what they've said and go, that part doesn't resonate with me. You're not doing the pooing, right? When you always look to someone else or others for guidance, how does it feel afterwards? Some of you said, good, great. You now that can sound like, well, that lot of people, they don't have as much discernment. They could have more. And those of you that said often afterwards, not quite right, that's letting you know either the value you place on what you're watching is too high, or you're actually sitting through it and disregarding yourself in the time, in the space. So then I asked, I wish I was more discerning with my own thoughts, right? Beautiful. Definitely the space. This is the space. Discernment here is everything, because this is the programmer of here. The navigation is here, but the navigation is also here. Discernment here is what creates your life. Definitely reset the tone. That'll help you with that. listen to any of my stuff. Knowing my worth, ego versus intuition. Yeah, well, that's a mastery that can take some time. There's a lot of stuff on this channel that will help you with that. There's a video that's ego power versus true power. There is, I might go into doing some more posts about that, ego versus intuition very specifically. Health advice. So I wish I was more discerning with health advice. That's becoming unbound from a very big program that we have certainly been in. You know, that's a big one. That's being grown up and sovereign. That's a really beautiful thing to start becoming more discerning about. Being able to feel the truth rather than relying on my brain to work it and the information. Okay. You will always feel. You're a feeling being. You are feeling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're feeling so much that much of your life is dedicated to numbing yourself. That's how much you feel. I don't think anybody needs to feel more. What you need to do is just feel what's actually there. But your brain has to be involved. All those people that go, just be heart-centered. You have a brain, you have a mind. You have a mind as a superpower, and it is what makes sense of what you feel. So your body is the feeling, the emotions. So the emotions come. Being able to feel the truth and not have your brain involved doesn't work, because what happens is it's your mind that will help you to understand whether what you're feeling is ego or intuition, whether what you're feeling is a trigger or guidance to say, get out of this room. Whether you watch something and they give you information and your whole entire body's reacting to it in fear because this is not the right thing for you, or because you feel powerless in this situation and you're actually giving yourself you're giving your power to this topic. So your body is feeling these things, but you need your mind to be able to navigate and make sense of it and kind of curate the lessons. Does that make sense? Does that make sense what I'm saying? And does it make sense why you can't be all body? Well, you can. You know those people. You know those people that are all body. They are just a swirl of crazy. They come in the room and they're like, whoo, and they're like emotions pinging off everywhere, and there's no kind of sense and there's no kind of ability to go, okay, let me just work through this. What if this is a trigger? What if this isn't even about this person? What if this is, where am I like this myself? What are you telling me? Your body is sending you messages from your ego as much as your intuition. Your gut can feel equal amounts of fear and disempowerment churning, and in the exact same place, in the exact same part of your body, in the exact same chakra, it also holds the gateway to your power. How do you know the difference? Here is the part that gets you talking to yourself, asking the questions, what is this about? Why do I feel so frightened right now? What's really going on? And the answers is what is going to help you discern what is really going on in the body. Does that make sense? You need them both. That is why my work, my life's work, my own, and what I do with all of you or whoever, wants to do it with me, is mastery of the mind, because it is one of our superpowers. It's not the only. The body, someone else will teach you all the really good body stuff. You need to do them both. Mastery of the mind will create your reality like nothing else. Does that make sense? Any questions around that? Good. I'm glad it makes sense. They work together. They work in harmony. This is the programmer. This is what shoots down the messages. This is what's going to be the difference between that chakra going into victim or empowerment, or where you are on the spectrum. Depends on how you process the information that's coming in. So don't throw this out. And the people who, like, let's stop demonizing the mind. It is one of our superpowers. It is the thing that is visioning this whole thing. It is the thing that is creating this whole thing. Your body is here to embody. Yes, right? Your heart desires it. Your mind visions it, envisions it, and your body embodies it, right? You need all three. Ideally, they will be in communication with each other. They will be in a beautiful relationship and flow with each other, but you need this part. Stop trying to go out of it, beyond it. Stop trying to get out of your mind. They've demonized the mind, and that's why so many people try and get out of their mind, take drugs to get out of their mind, have sex to get out of their mind, exercise to get out of their mind, all that stuff, eat to get out of their mind, and it is not doing you any service. And at the same time, you need the emotion, the body and the mind together. The emotion, the narrative, the making sense of it, the conversation, right? The emotion, the conversation, the inner talk, the working through it, the asking the questions, the receiving, right? They'll both receive, but this is what makes sense of it. Without this, you cannot make sense of it. You cannot have, how do you have direction? How do you process the information that you're seeing? You would lose your mind, you would go mad, and it would be game over. Have you been confused with contradictory information from different people? I love this. And many, many, many of you said yes. So the reason why this happens is because you're still getting the information through a human being. That human being is still running all that information through their own perception. They're still getting stuff that they don't always know where it's coming from. They don't always know where it's coming from. They don't always know where they're just talking from a trigger. They don't always know where they're being manipulated. Everybody on this planet is still being manipulated to a degree. We are not ascended masters. And so this is why you need to be discerning. Forget the messenger. We're too caught up in the message. Start focusing more. The messenger, start focusing more on the message. And if someone consistently feels off to you, stop following them. But if certain things feel off to you, that's almost a good thing of discernment where you go, yeah, I didn't agree with that. You know, people will say to me, did you hear so-and-so talk about so-and-so the other day? And I'll be like, yeah, that didn't feel right. That's okay. That's exactly how life is meant to be, because no one person is going to see things exactly how you see them, and no one person is seeing them for you. Remember, it's just input and information for you to discern. When you have, the thing is, very few people channel direct, and even if you do, because I've done it, even if you do, you still have to put it into words. So you're still a part of that process where you can get it wrong, where the nuance of a word or the way you're putting it, it's like you're taking a sense of something, or you're taking a whole scene and then you're putting it into words. And that is where that's the part where you do, even if you've stepped aside, that's still the part where you can come in and you do put a slight thing on it. So even if you're listening to channeled messages, they can be off, but especially when you're listening to somebody's opinion, take on things, their feel on things, it's not going to always resonate with you. And if they consistently don't resonate with you, they're on a different path. They're on a different journey. Let them go. That was the numbing. And do you wish you were better at getting your own guidance? Yes. Most people said, yes, I wish I was better. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to take the tape off the letterbox. If you want to be better at getting your own guidance, stop numbing, and hold space for yourself instead. Start to sit in the emotion at the time. Grab pen and paper What do you want me to know? What do you want me to know? The minute you can, if something comes up for you, a big emotion starts coming up, you say, I hear you, I respect you, I regard you, whatever feels right. I hear you, I respect you, and we're going to do this as soon as I get home. Or have your time when you do it, and you get pen and paper out, and then you go, anger, what would you have me know? Sadness, what would you have me know? Fear, what would you have me know? Heart, what would you have me know? Ego, what would you have me know? And you write it out, and you will be given all the information that you need right there. And that is then your own discernment. And then you start parenting yourself. That's how you'll discern. As a parent, ideally, you are kind of like a bit of a discernment aspect for your children. You decide what comes into the house, what they can watch, what they get to eat. You are starting that discernment process. However, unfortunately, we do completely bypass their own. We go against it. So you need to start listening to yourself, regarding yourself. What do I want? What do I need? Somebody said, I'd like to be better at knowing what I need. The reason why you're not, the reason why we're not, the reason why humans aren't very good at knowing what they need. We've been taught, that's been taught out of us. I talked about that in the first one of these. The expert comes in, the doctor, the surgeon, the lawyer, the teacher, the parent, the grandparent, whoever comes in, the expert comes in and tells you. And how many women have said, I knew there was something wrong and he made me out to be an idiot for however many years, and then whatever, right? Because you know, but you're taught to go beyond that. So you've got to start undoing that. You know what you need better than anybody else on this planet. You just need the information, right? So you'll go, I'm not exactly sure what I need because I don't have that medical knowledge, but I know I don't need that. Great, beautiful. That's the first really empowering key part of this. And then you go, what else is available? What other things? And you have to start being your own driver, and you have to start doing your own research, even just to the extent, it doesn't have to be overwhelming, you don't get caught in it, but to the extent that you start looking through what's available, what is available, what's one of these things. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, that doesn't feel right. Okay, now I want more information from you. Given these two things, give me more information on this. Which one of these feels right? You're always holding up two things. Which one of these feels right? Right? Pare it back. Remember with kids when you first start letting them dress themselves and you go, okay, you're wearing a coat. Do you want to wear the yellow coat or the red coat? Right? Take that back to you. Okay, if it's a choice between these two things, do I want this one or this one? I want this one. Okay. Now, if it's a choice between this and this, do I want this and this? And this is how you will move ahead in your own discernment. And stop justifying to yourself when something doesn't feel right. You don't need a nice, pretty little bow of this is why this doesn't feel right. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't feel right. Okay. So we might expand into that a bit more, because it feels like, what questions do you have about that? And what, like, let's take 5 minutes. What questions do you have about that? Do you wish you were better getting your own guidance? First, what I want you to do, I want you to watch this back. If you feel like I need to re-listen to the kinds of things I can do, and then action them, and then come back in a week or so and go, okay, this is where I'm stuck, because that's actually what's going to help me to know where to move forward with this. I realized I'm unconsciously always choosing what I should do rather than what I want to do, and I struggle to know what I want to do. And that right there, to the person who said, I would like to have better discernment at knowing what I need. This is why we're no good at it, because we choose what we should do, what we think will make us get into the least amount of trouble, even as adults, what we think will have people thinking of us as good people, what will make us kind, what is the right thing to do, what we've been raised to do, what we've been told to do, what the law wants us to do, blah, la, 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 right? Instead of what we actually want to do. You have just observed 2 years of how easy it is to get people to go against themselves. And the reason why it was this easy is because of a lack of discernment, and then the courage to follow up what you actually want to do. Most people know what they want, and most people know what they need, but the minute you take them to that place, they will say, yes, but I don't know how to do it. And that's That's very different from saying, I don't know what I want and I don't know what I need. And if you're in your ego about it, ego will already, if ego doesn't know a very logical, like step, T, then it'll go, what's the use of knowing A? What's the use of sitting with A and going, what do I actually want? What do I actually need? What does my body need right now? What does my body need right now? And the body will 99% of the time say rest. And then people will go, I can't rest now. That's insane. I can't. I've got this to do and this to do and this to do and this to do. Okay. Okay. But that's not you not knowing what you need to do, right? So that's an important one. That's a really good one to end on. Okay. Am I doing a reading? Yes, I'm doing 2. Okay. Anybody, put your hand up if you would like a card drawn for you, a card and an oil, and what you'd like it on. And anybody else, please put any questions that you have in the chat, any comments. What's your take home from today? What have you learned today? What have you been reminded of today that's most going to change you? That's going to be most helpful. What are you going to start actioning? And if 2 people would like a reading, I'll give a couple of minutes for people to. Hey, Sarah. Oh, hey, Sarah. So nice to have you here. Okay, beautiful. And Haruka. Okay, so Sarah and Haruka. So I'm going to, both of these are going to be on what do you need me to know about discernment? Okay, we're going to ask that question. What do you need me to know about discernment? That's the card I'm going to draw and the oil. First for Sarah and for Haruka. And the rest of you, thank you for being here and for your interaction and for your energy, because I can always feel it. Even if you don't put anything in the chat, it still helps to bring it all to life. And let me know if there's any questions you have to go, anything. Okay, so Sarah, 1 card and 1 oil. What would you have me know about discernment? My hands are a bit cold. It's making it a bit hard to shuffle. Thank you for jumping out so beautifully. Can you see how important this discernment conversation is? This is the 3rd time we're talking about it, and it feels like we haven't even scratched the surface. So that's what I want you to know about this. It is everything. Everything. It is how you will navigate yourself to the right places and spaces. Yes, you will have support from the outside world. Yes, you can go to other people and say, what do you think? What do you know? And share with me. And you can watch things and listen to things and all of that. At the end of the day, you are the one that needs to decide what resonates and what to let go of. Okay, so we're going to start with the oil, Sarah, which is everlasting. And the message of this oil is expanding grace. Expanding grace. Okay, and the card, which is from the Wild Offering deck by Tosha Silver, this one is about money. And it says, all my finances are now in divine order. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. Okay, I want you to write that down, Sarah, or if right now you are not in a place where you can write that down, we are at 1 hour and 8 minutes. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I want you to write that down. I want you to have that on your fridge. I want you to have that next to your bed. I want you to have that everywhere. This is discernment 101 for you. This is the starting place. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I needn't cling to gain or fear loss. Every need will be met through offering all to the divine. That includes, like, obviously your fears, your doubts, your whole, what do I need to know about this? And then let the divine bring to you what you need to know. When you up your discernment, like I said, I don't just watch things because somebody sends them to me. Start to become, when you up that discernment, what do you want me to know about this? Bring it to me. Make it really clear. and then keep your eyes open and see what comes to you. And once you know something, right, I'm good with that now. I don't need a PhD in that topic. Okay, I'm just going to repeat this card because it's beautiful. All my finances are now in divine order, and this card is not just about money. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I needn't cling to gain or fear loss. Every need will be met through offering all to the divine. I'm walking baby, but we'll re-listen and write that down. Beautiful. Perfect, Sarah. So it's 1 hour and 8 minutes there for you. Fiona, thanks. Love this chat as always. Taking it all in, learning, eyes wide open. We'll miss these group sessions. Well, just having a break from them, okay? And I'm going to do shorter videos, okay? Let's do some processing of the things you've learned. Let's do the implementing, do the processing, do the practical stuff. Go back, listen to ones that you feel drawn and called to. I'm just going to do, I won't do a live and I won't do it at a set time, but I will most likely once a week put a shorter video with more snippets. We can still talk about all the things. If you want something in particular, DM on Instagram. I'm more than happy to look at anything because it will help to spark what you all are still wanting to know and what's going on. And I will do some more impromptu lives on Instagram. Okay, now Haruka. What would you have me know about discernment for Haruka? Put that aside, and one of these, and an oil, one of these. Okay, start with the oil. Yes, starting with the oils today. Okay, what would you have me know about discernment? We have cinnamon leaf. Beautiful. Cinnamon leaf. Warmth. Okay, and what is the message? Okay, so the message of cinnamon leaf is warmth, and the healing characteristic it's helping you with today is where relationships, communication, situations, and emotions are frosty, bitter, and cold. Cinnamon leaf thaws and instills love, affection, tenderness, and kindness. And Haruka, we are at about 1 hour and 11 minutes if you want to come back and listen to this specifically. Where relationships, communication, situation, and emotions are frosty, bitter, and cold. Cinnamon leaf thaws and instills love, affection, tenderness, and kindness. Okay. And the card, what would you have Haruka know about discernment? One card, yep. Dance. Okay, dance. So this is from the Work Your Light, Rebecca Campbell, and this is the message for you about discernment. Haruka, do something to shift your vibration. So a shift of vibration is going to help your discernment. Like a lift, a joy, a movement, a dance, dancing, moving your body, dancing will help. Do something to shift your vibration. So this is specifically actually what they're saying specifically for you is do something to shift your vibration will help you get clarity in the mind and clarity of heart. Clarity of mind, clarity of heart will come with a shift of vibration. Okay, that's the message for you, Haruka, about discernment. Okay, trust and thrive, July, exactly. Trust and thrive, that's what we're doing. Thank you, Haruka. Can you chat about money? Okay. Do you know what? it becomes such an open-ended conversation. Send me very specific things that I can unpack, and I will do them. Like anonymously. But things that I can unpack are the best way for it not to be some massive open-ended thing that you could talk on for probably like 10 years. But also, it helps others that are listening to the unpacking to really see the process that I use. And then you can weave teachings in through the unpacking, and it actually makes it more relatable for everybody, because you will find yourself, you'll hear yourself and see yourself and recognize yourself in what others are going through. And that is also always very helpful, because you'll realize that we're all on very similar journeys. The details can look different, but the actual processing and the fears and the things we're transforming are largely exactly the same. Great, Haruka, that's good. Yeah, beautiful. Okay. All right. So these aren't ending forever. I'm just having a break. I feel like we should do them in kind of maybe like 4-week blocks, and then have a break. And then when I feel like coming back again, I will let you all know. We'll be here with bells on. Actually, I'm thinking about starting ballet. Oh, I love that. Well, that's a really good nod to that. Like, it's testing up. Yep, for sure. Do it. Do it. And in fact, she's a ballet dancer, isn't she? Is it ballet? Yeah, she certainly seems quite ballet-ish. So yes, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you in this space. I'm going to continue to put some videos on here pretty regularly. Go back, watch other stuff. Go like scroll right back, watch earlier stuff. You will get the right thing. Practice your discernment, fine-tune it, hone it. What do I want? What do I need? Really practice holding space for yourself. Start having those conversations. Anybody that wants a one-on-one session, they are still $50 off for the rest of July. You put, when you're booking online, I'll put it in here so that you put celebrate 50 at the checkout, and it will take $50 off a clarity session, which they go for an hour and a half. So 90 minutes, yes. Oh, well, I'm glad we were able to join you on your trip to Ballarat. How perfect is that? Okay, Sarah, well, I will see you then. And so till the end of July, $50 off. If you're not in a position where you can have a one-on-one, there is lots and lots of stuff on here, and the book, obviously, the book is 30, and you know, most people, that's available to most people, and it's very practical, and you can take yourself through it. So thank you to the regulars. Thank you to anybody new that's here. Please share it if it spoke to you. Please, if you're watching the replay, let me know. What's your take home? What spoke to you? What resonated? What's helpful? And have a fabulous week. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's a beautiful day. And we will meet here again. Maybe we won't do Monday mornings. Maybe we'll find a different time. But we'll see. So I will let you know when I'm going to be back on here for sure. And in the meantime, I'll see you over on Instagram, and I will put shorter things on here that might be easier just to kind of like have a little, 15-20 minute listen to. Okay, pleasure, ladies. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Much love to you all. And I will, DM me on Instagram or email me if you're not on Instagram, SabinaJacksonConsciousLiving@gmail.com. And happy to unpack. So obviously, I'm not going to do a session for you for free via email or via DM. But if you would like something spoken on in a video in a general sense, then you can do that. Okay. Bye, everyone. Take care.